Yeah, my name is Steve Fobister Sr., but my actual name is Partagez, which means like the twister in my cultural name. And I'm from Grassy Narrows First Nation. Lived here most of my life, and I'm 64 years old. They took away every facet of our way of life. Hunting, fishing, tourist economy, which mercure wiped out everything of this and polluted the whole river system. So we have nothing to rely on back. We almost today live 99% under the welfare economy, and no sight of any recovery. If in fact that we got relocated because of hydro floodings and the bad water in the river system in 1963, when they flooded, hydro flooded the waters in 1958, without no considerations, for our people or the communities, which one reserve virtually went down underwater. And all our sacred sites and various sites and bodies were floating, washing up on the beaches. That to me is, most of the racist, policy we ever had to encounter. They had no, hydro was not liable for any of this cleanup. They put the burden on the taxpayer, which in turn taxpayers, blamed us for their financial burdens. So we never had any win-no-win situation, whereas the company's done the damage, then any recovery had to be on the burden on the taxpayer to foot the cleaning bills for the landlord of this this land. So before we can adjust ourselves and repair the damage that has been done, then mercury pollution hit in 1970. That's just wiped us out. The water was 10 times as worse as it was in the hydro flooding. We couldn't eat the fish anymore. We couldn't sell our fish. The lodges closed down. The water was bad. We still had no running water. Our epidemic was out of proportion. We had to change our diet, and that precipitated diseases. The most prominent one is that, the diabetes increased by 90%. The ALS was on the rise. Alzheimer's, MS, Parkinson's, and cancers are really prevalent today as a result of the water situation. They said they stopped dumping mercury on the river system, sometimes in the 70s because of our pressure. Do you believe them? All we faced is lies all these years, and it's hard to believe them anymore. Now the water is so bad that we can't even drink off the lake anymore. They tell us that, it's so contaminated that even man stopped and let the earth recover itself in the water, it would take 100 years. But yet, there is no justice for our people. What is what is the solution? You know, I myself am I'm a neurological cripple, so it's 10 other people in the community. Now, if they say ALS is 1 out of 1,000,000, my God, you know, why is 10, 20 people have it in a community of a population of 1,200? You know, that's got to tell you something. But they denied time after time, you know, that our water is bad. This has been going on for the last 40 years or more. Well, the industrial invasion has always been by corn corporations, which are supported by legislation, and mainly, you know, out of the country companies like Boise Cascade Limited, all the pulp and paper companies that are owned outside of the borders. And the mining companies like De Beers, Noranda, these are the people in hydro development have really been the ones that have really been the ones that have been invading our countries, and they seem to have come with the power of a government. You know, they allow them to pollute, they allow to damage the land, they have a license to do it. Because that's what they told us, you know. When we tell them, hey, you polluted the land, you're destroying it. Well, we got the license and a permit to do it. Well, there's nothing that I can do about it. It's in my system. And I'm breaking down one piece at a time, you know, and it's been progressing to a point that it's affecting my swallowing, it's affecting my speech, it's affecting my feelings, you know, and I know I'm going to die from it because the doctors were fair scared me. But they came up with other diseases that I had, like ALS, Kennedy disease, you know, there's no cure, there's no medicine for it. I can't travel, I can't work, I can't even cut my grass anymore, I can't even garden anymore, or I can't even reel in a fish anymore. So mentally it's very depressing, but my culture and spiritual values are still intact. That has made me able to keep and believing that the land will someday be good for my children and grandchildren, because this future never belongs to me. I just bore it from them. So my effort is that they don't end up like me, but that's, again, too late. Because 4 of my grandchildren are affected now, and 2 of my own children. They're all having to see a neurologist, you know, for almost every month in Winnipeg, and still no compensation. You know, the mercure damage is here. That's plain it, and I got to cope with it. Scientists have figured that they would solve, you know, this problem, you know, the last 30 years. But they found out that the problem isn't the biodiversity damage or biological loss, or even climate change. It has to do with greed, selfishness and empathy. And it will take a cultural and spiritual transformation to fix it. But they don't have that answer. But we do as people, Aboriginal people, who live with it, we taste it, we feel it, and we eat it, and we smell it. It's hard to imagine something we cherish and honored for the last 10,000 years can turn against us. But it's the industrial nations that have changed that.